Hi everyone. Just wanted to check in and say I'm sorry. I know I'm woefully behind on YouTube videos, but today you'll be getting a short one, and then I'm going to try and record another two before the end of the month. Also, just wanted to say the last tutorial that I did for the creative eye look, it wasn't very instructional. There was a lot going on here that day. There were people at the house, and then some urgent things happened that I needed to leave the house and do. So I kind of rushed through it a little bit too much, I think. Well, that's just my personal opinion, because I have very high standards for myself. So if you would like to see that creative tutorial again, let me know in the comments, and I'll do my best to create a more instructional kind of like, okay, well, you do this and then you do that kind of step-by-step thing. Anyway, today I've had a request from one of my colleagues. I did a makeup look last week and everyone loved the fact that I did this ombre lipstick, and she's like, can you tell us how to do that? And I'm like, yeah, sure, no worries. So that's what this is going to be today. This is going to be how to do that ombre lip look that's been popular lately. And I'm actually going to show you two ways to do it. Because when I first started doing an ombre lip, I used to do it one way, and now that I've gotten a bit more practice at it, I do it a different way. So I'll show you the easiest one first, and then we'll go on to the other one, okay? So basically for this look, what you need is, now obviously I'm going to be using two different types of pink today because I've got pink tones in my eyeshadow. You can use whatever colours you want, but what you need to do, the first thing that you need is you need two lip liners. Now you need one that's a darker shade of the colours that you're going to be using. So for example, I'm using pinks, so this is like a burgundy colour. Then you need your lip liner that's going to create your final look and is going to be your outline for basically what you're filling in. Now, as you probably know if you've watched any of my videos before, or if you're on Facebook and you've seen any of my makeup looks, my signature lip liner is black. It's usually always black. So I've got black lip liner. But if you were using another colour, say you were doing like a brown and nude ombre lip, you'd probably use like a dark brown. Then you need your two lip colours. Now I've got a darker pink here. This is actually a liquid lip colour. It's in like a dark magenta, if that makes sense. And then I've actually got a lipstick which is a very, very, very pale pink. Now the reason why you want two colours that are so different at the ends of like the colour spectrum, like one's quite a lot darker than the other one, is because that's going to give you that really big difference in colour for your ombre look. Because if you use two colours that are too similar, they're kind of going to all melt together and you're not going to get that difference in colour. Now the next thing that you use, grab yourself a couple of tissues. And I did have the other item here. Oh yeah, it's just over here. Sorry. I'm actually in my bedroom today because my daughter has friends over. No, I'm not back in isolation, but I'm just I'm doing this up here for a bit more privacy. The next thing you need is some cotton tips. Now I've actually got these ones here. You get them at Woolworths, and they're especially for cosmetic use. They're really cheap. I think they're only about $2 a box, and there's 100 in a pack. See how one's got like that flatter end, and then you've got one that's really tapered at the end? That's going to be really useful for our first technique. So once you've got all that stuff together, we're ready to start. So what you do, well, this is what I do. Once you learn how to do this, you just do what's comfortable for you and what's easiest. I'm just going to use my darker, I'm going to call it darker pink, even though it's burgundy, just because I'm trying to explain it within the colour profile. Get your darker pink, and I'm just going to outline my lips where I want the lipstick to go. So I'm just running it along the natural lip line. And it's kind of like a boundary for the lip colour that I'm about to place there in a minute. I don't know if you just noticed, but I just put my pinky finger on my chin. I don't have a very steady hand, so it just gives me that extra control. Now I'm keeping my lips closed for this because, as I explained earlier, my final outline's actually going to be with the black, so I don't need it up in here in these corners. I'm simply just outlining where I'm putting lipstick. Okay, so as you can see, I've just lined the shape, really. So I'll just put that lid on there. Now, as I said earlier, this is going to be the easier technique of the two. You take your darkest lip colour and basically you fill in that shape that you've just outlined. I usually start at the middle. And I'm pushing it right up into those corners now. Okay. Now, because this is a liquid lip, I'm just going to give it a couple of seconds just to kind of dry a little bit before we go with our next bit. Now, sorry, I've just got something caught in my throat. What you need for this bit, you need your cotton tip, and we're going to take the tapered end, and what we're going to do, we're actually going to remove some of that liquid lip colour along the inside of our lips, leaving like a border of the darker colour. So we're just going to run it along the inner part of our lip. See how I've still got the pink down here, but main colour has been removed? You can always go in and add a little bit more of that darker colour afterwards. Sorry. So now we're going to take our light pink and we're just going to run it along where we removed the first colour. As you can see, there's quite a difference in the two colours. I'm just pressing it together. And now what you can do is you can just blur it with your finger. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to add a little bit more of the darker colour around the edges. I'm just going to wipe off the main excess of product because I don't want to add a whole heap of product over the top of just what I put on there. I just want to kind of define the edges a little bit. So the applicator on the end of this is almost dry, and I'm just rubbing it back and forward along that edge. Just like that. Now if you feel the need to, you can go back and just blur it a little bit more. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to wipe this one off, and then I'll just pop back on camera in a second so that I can show you the second technique. Okay everyone, so as you can see, I've cleaned off all the lip colour that I did a minute ago, and now I'm going to show you, it's not very much harder, but it just is a little bit trickier, but this is the method that I use to do it. So once again, I'm grabbing my dark pink lip liner, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing, just outlining the shapes of my lips where I want the colour to go. Okay, so we've got that bit on. Now I'm actually going to start with the lighter colour, and I'm going to cover the entire lip with the light colour. Can I just say how much I'm loving this colour right now? Now as you can see, I'm kind of rubbing it over the top of the lip liner so that I'm blurring that a little bit too. Okay, so I'm just going to rub my lips together now, and as you might see in a minute, I'll just explain it now because when I'm doing this I won't be able to talk. I kind of squeeze my lips together in that corner so that it just goes right into those little creases at the sides of the lips like this. See that? Like the colours printed right into that corner. Feel like a goldfish. Anyway. Okay. So now I'm going to grab my darker pink, which is the liquid lip. And again, I'm going to wipe off most of the excess product. And I'm just going to rub it back and forward around the edges to create that darker border. As you can see, lighter colours in the middle, just above the darker colour. I'm just re-dipping, but I'm still wiping off the excess product around the edge. And if you like, just add as much as you prefer till you get the level of colour that you're happy with. I think I'm just going to put another layer because I just want to create that darker border so that I can show you guys the contrast between the two lip colours. Okay, I'm just going to wait a few seconds because that's a liquid lip colour, so I just need it to dry a little bit. I'm not pressing my lips together this time because I'm gonna actually blur the colours, not with my finger this time. I'm actually gonna blur them with the lip colour. This is a little thing that I like to do too, to dry off my liquid lip colours, because I use liquid lip colours a lot because I have a tendency to prefer my lips to look more matte rather than glossy, so I tend to use a lot of liquid lip products and a lot of lip paint. So I just kind of blow through my lips like that, just to dry the colour off a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to grab my final lip liner colour, which is my black. As I said earlier, whatever you prefer, you use. So now, as you can see, especially on my top lip, you can see it kind of goes above the natural lip line. I'm just going to follow that line above the natural lip line because, number one reason, then you'll be able to see both colours as well as the lip liner. Number two reason, as you can see, my top lip is actually a lot thinner than my bottom lip, so it's going to make it look bigger, okay? Just use little short strokes because if you make a mistake, if you've done a little short stroke, it's going to be a lot smaller mistake than like if you've drawn a big line, and it's going to be easier to fix up. Okay, so now I'm just going to follow it on the other side, but on the other side I'm going to take it up a little bit further because I don't know whether you actually realised, but this side of my lip is actually a little bit lower than this side. So to balance that out, I'm just going to take it up a little higher on the low side. Okay, so now I'm just going to line the bottom lip part. Doing this with my lips closed. And as you can see, I've only lined the middle of my lips. So now I'm going to open my mouth really wide so that we can get this darker lip liner right into those corners. Because what we want that effect where the darker colour gradually fades lighter towards the middle. Okay, so where did I put my lid? Oh, right there. Thanks for connecting, all the people that are messaging me at the moment. I will get back to you shortly. So now I'm just going to grab my darker lip colour, which is the liquid lip. Again, wiping off my excess product. And now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to rub it along that black lip liner to blur it towards the middle of my lip. If your lip liner disappears a bit, don't worry about that because you can touch it up at the end. And I'm just kind of pulling the colour across. See how you can see that fade? And don't worry if you get the darker colours on the lighter colours because we're going to touch everything up in a minute when we're finished this bit. Got a phone call, guys, just 1 second. Okay, guys, sorry about that. So, as I said, we're just blurring that darker colour in. Kind of makes you look like you've had lip fillers when you haven't. As you can see, I'm pulling the darker colour in towards the middle. Alright, so I'll just give that a couple of seconds and I'm just going to squeeze it into the corners as well. Okay, now before it dries, I'm actually going to reapply the lighter colour so that they blur together. Okay, and I'm just going to reline a little bit around that edge. Oh God, sorry. My knee hit the table. I just really like a defined lip line. And that's it. As you can see, I've got the darker colour on the outside. And I'm just going to pop a little more of this in, just because I noticed it looked a little patchy there. Okay, so that is how you do an ombre lip. Now, as I said before, you can use whatever colour you like. Just make sure you've got those two defined, like, different levels of colour so that you can see the two colours and that they don't blend in together too much. Anyway, I'm going to try and drop you 2 more tutorials maybe next week or within the next couple of days. And if there's anything else that you would like to see, just let me know. Okay guys, I'm going to dash off because I've actually got to put setting spray on this makeup, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching everyone, and I hope you have a great weekend. Bye.